All right, I am going to kick us off right here. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again. This series, just so you know, is CRO Live Lab, hosted by Clickvoyant. What we do is every 2 weeks, we actually analyze live websites. Anybody can come in and join us to see, but also if you're interested in getting your site analyzed by our excellent guests and professionals in the industry, you can submit your site. Hopefully we get to everyone. The way that it works is you submit your site, you come in and talk about it, and then we take a look at a homepage, a product detail page, and a collection page together, and our esteemed guests give you professional feedback. And so the purpose of this is really that everybody is learning how to do CRO. We're making decisions on our websites on the daily, and sometimes what we don't understand are what are the economic behaviors that we're changing and moving around as a result of adding these different things. So my guests today are Dan Greco and Stephen Cozzolongo from Digital Position. I will let them introduce themselves. Dan, why don't you go first? Welcome. You are on mute.
I sure am. Thanks. Hey everyone. Thanks. Great to be here. Thanks for the invite, Mia. Yeah, so I've been running experiments for the better part of 10 years. I've probably run close to 500 A/B tests in that time, mostly with like high volume websites, anything between 1 and 20 million unique visitors a month. I absolutely love it, and yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing some of what I've learned over those 500 experiments.
And don't be scared if your site does not have 1 million visitors per month.
Yeah, as long as you have the sample size, enough of a sample size, then you can do some testing for sure.
Absolutely. The science still applies. Like we're helping some customers who have like 5,000 a month and they're actually improving their conversion rate. So don't let that scare you. Dan has run hundreds and hundreds of tests, and all of his insights are definitely going to apply to your sites today. All right. Also, Steve's got a little bit of a different background, but Steve, why don't you introduce yourself to the group?
Yeah. Thanks for having me as well. My name is Steve Cozzolongo. I am a fractional CMO and an agency owner. I've been in digital marketing for about 15 years. I've worked with pretty cool brands like Dick's Sporting Goods, Dooney & Burke, Fleet Feet Sports, Peter Millar. But I've also worked with a lot of small to medium-sized businesses, about 350 over the past 15 years, kind of crazy, but definitely have a lot of experience with all sorts of e-commerce businesses. We are, our Digital Position, my agency, we are a content first growth marketing agency. I want to just emphasize the content first because I think it's just so important, and most agencies and most businesses have it all wrong. They are looking at things channel first. They're saying, hey, what can I do? Can I be on social? Can I be on paid search? Or what should I do for SEO? When in reality, you should all be taking a step back and saying, what is core to the business? What are you really good at? Why does your brand stand out? And then start planning out what type of content to make to support those channels where your audiences are hanging out. And the reason why I'm on this call with Mia is because we've worked together on a bunch of different projects, connecting performance marketing to CRO to get better performance for all of our clients.
Yes, and I mean, content is one of the critical messages on a lot of this. And so many of you are founders who are just starting. Some of you are actually been doing this for a long time. But what we find is that communication, it's not a bunch of like, different kinds of tools that you can get that tell you, okay, try this template, try that template, try this UX. That'll get you to a point, but understanding the communication is critical. So I'm Mia, I'm your host at Clickvoyant. We use AI to automate marketing analytics so that we can figure out what is going on with CRO and on shopper behavior, which a lot of people don't look at. And so that's what we do all day long, CRO for e-commerce properties. Let's get started. So the brands up today, and I want to make sure that you're all here. We will prioritize those who are available. Booty Shawl is here. Is Patty here? Next, we'll have Jules, which is a stroller store. Midnighties, we have Sipherbals, and Lunatic Femme. So again, if you want your site analyzed after these 5, if there's time, just throw it into the chat, but let's go ahead and get started. Justice, are you here? For Jewel Stroller. All right, I do see that Stacy joined, so let's get started with Stacy's site, which is Lunatic Femme. Stacy, can you come up to speak and take yourself off of mute?
Hi, yes, hi. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So Stacy, I'm going to pull up your website as we take a look at your homepage. Tell us about your company and what you're selling here on the Shopify platform.
Great. So we are a couple of years old. We are a small startup. We sell luxury lingerie. It's all small batch, limited edition, made in New York. The pieces are designed to be a creative muse for you, both in the bedroom and out on the streets. So we do your traditional, say, like bras and underwear, but we also do like bodysuits and play pieces and things that help you explore how you dress out in the wild, and then also sensuality in the bedroom. So unique textures, unique harnesses, hooks, playthings, that type of thing.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. And so what we do is we're going to first look at a homepage. We're going to look at a product detail page, and we're going to look at a collections page. We've picked this out in advance, so everybody, this is going to be safe for work, even though we know this is a lingerie edgy website. A couple things on the homepage. I'm going to just scroll down, and I would love for Dan to tell me, I'm curious what you're thinking about the motion on the homepage.
Yeah, for sure. I do like the parallax. I like the motion. Definitely very modern. It's clearly a little bit more like, I guess, like brand and fashion forward. Obviously, I can't speak to this product personally, so it's hard to I think some of the best insights in general come from just being like really in tune with the consumer, which in this case I'm frankly not. But one thing I did notice is that banner at the top is just kind of rotating the same redundant text. So I'd consider making that fixed. We might not need to have the motion there. I like the navigation though. I think that it's like really well done. I think, just because you're able to keep that video, like if you had a different menu layout, I could see that video kind of being cut below the fold. So I do like how you have everything structured layout wise.
Awesome. And what about you, Steve? What do you think about the content so far on, Stacy has told us that this is lingerie, and I'm wondering what your thoughts are on all this copy and how it's playing to maybe net new traffic. You're on mute.
Yep, sorry about that. I think Stacy's intro and her like first like 30-second pitch about the brand was a little bit more informative than maybe what I'm seeing currently right now on the website, because I want to just be hit in the face with exactly what you guys are doing, who you are. I've even, when I'm looking at your guys' Instagram account, it looks really good. You guys are focusing on video and reels, high production stuff, which is great. You guys have some UGC and everything like that. But you, even in your Instagram profile, you're specifically calling out that you guys are small batch, that you are, well, basically exactly what you said, right? Limited edition, micro quantities, made in New York City for experienced hunters and things like that. So I think that I would want to make that very clear on the homepage as well, just so that as soon as people land on the page that they have like a cohesive experience.
I agree with that. Honestly, when I take a look at it, and I'm also going to move into a mobile environment, because especially when you're new, a lot of times you are attracting people via mobile. And so, one thing that it took me a minute actually it took me talking to Stacy to understand that this actually was dressing for lingerie. So I think at first I thought, oh, power suits. Like I'm a female founder. That's exactly where my mind went. And I know that, you know, it's your homepage and you're kind of dancing this like dance between lingerie and power moves and sort of like, you know, flirting with like a BDSM sort of audience, but it wasn't clear. Like that piece, the small batch made in New York, high end lingerie is the communication that I was missing. So like level up your power suit. And also Craig Sullivan is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Like, do you know who Craig Sullivan is? Craig actually has some comments in here that I want to pay attention to, which is talking about load times on your site. So what do we have here? Craig, you're fully welcome. This is a community. You're fully welcome to come off mute if you want to talk about what you're seeing on the video. Otherwise, you're fine staying off camera. But you know, Craig has a very good point here, which is the video is going to be hard on CPU, and your CTAs are a little bit maybe diminutive here. So it's amazing how sometimes you can see just how a button will change as well. Like here, for example, we've seen this free shipping. You can see your ticker that you have up here. Very normal Shopify feature that we have on the site. But sometimes like is it clickable? That and it looks like yes, it is. But sometimes just the difference between having something that looks like a button, that's like a subconscious shortcut to know that that's something that you can click on. And load times on sites, especially with video like this, does have a tendency to slow down your actual loading of the web page. So thinking about a way to, I know that you've gone very heavy on brand here, but thinking about a way to increase the speed of the load of this page will also help.
I'll just throw it out there. I haven't inspected the website, but are those GIFs below the page? Or are those actual videos when you scroll down?
Here?
Yeah.
That's a video.
Okay. Yeah, one thing that could like give you that same motion, but reduce the load time dramatically is just using GIFs. So that would be something to explore. And then I love the idea, like everything that Stefan said was around small batch New York. I think that would be great to test like right underneath that hero banner, because it seems like you have some space that's still like above the fold. So that would be something to kind of test, kind of like, yeah, like those like value propositions.
Great, thank you.
Sure. All right, let's take a quick look at a product detail page as well, and as well as a collections page. So we're first going to go into I believe, what do we say, that a safe product, bodysuits, right? So I'm going to share this tab. Very common for your site. This is, I think, if you feel like sharing your Shopify theme, let us know. But very common for you to have. I mean, this is a pretty standard template. I would say that one thing that I do notice that you have a shop all bodysuits, bras and tops, panty sets, and accessories. Is just what I see in the data oftentimes is that people will directly choose left to right. So bodysuits will probably be one of your top pages. I'm just making an assumption from data that we've seen before. So if somebody's new to the brand, since you're starting out, and we're going to click shop all, click bodysuits. What do you think we should be communicating here, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, and a really quick win right here from an SEO perspective is just adding some content to this collections page. You're going to want to do that to every collections page. Everybody on this call could be doing this on their website, or just checking to see if they have the right content on their collection pages. The collection pages are what is typically going to rank. You could potentially get some of the products ranked, but it's going to be much harder, and they're much more like long-tailed searches. But if bodysuits is something that you would assume or would like your customers to be searching, we need to give Google, the LLMs, whatever it might be, a little bit more context about the page.
And what kind of context are you talking about when you say that? Can you be a little bit specific about what content belongs here?
Yeah, we're just gonna try. Well, one, everything that has to do with content and Google, it just has to be about. I mean, EEAT, which is, you guys may have heard this or may have not, but it's just expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness, and experience. Sorry, that's EEAT. It's just the basis of literally everything in Google and everything that we should be thinking about as we create any sort of content that's written, videos, images, whatever. Are we creating value and adding value to the for the customers? And are we really explaining what is on the page and what we're looking at? So just kind of remember that some of these like LLMs or the search engines, they're not viewing this page the way that we are. They're just looking at, you know, the metadata, the text on the page, the H1s, descriptions, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, we would really just take a look at where the search volume is, maybe what kind of searches we want to show up for in AI search results, what the SERP looks like for this type of landscape. And then we kind of like work our way backwards to optimize to make sure that this page or a page like this would show up.
Yeah. And Dan, I have questions for you about also, you know, hero images on, like, you know, I find that repetition works really well when you have like from a home page to another page, just to help the user orient on, here's where I am now on the site. Like, what are your thoughts? Because I think that I've seen it done lots of different ways. A hero on a collections page, a hero down below, merchandising components. What is your gut tell you about this?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think for a premium product like this, you know, communicating your value propositions to kind of like partially justify the prices and the appeal is, I mean, there's only upside to doing that. So I love the idea of having some repetition. It's possible even like maybe that rotating banner at the top is a decent place to test, like having those value props. But in general, yeah, I like the idea of having an additional call, because you don't know if they're even going to view the homepage or if you're going to be sending, you know, folks directly to this page, whether it's through paid social or organic. And I do want to second what Steven said. Yeah, the name of the game is definitely EEAT. Like, that's my favorite acronym. As a web strategist, like conversion optimization is very closely tied with SEO and LLM and visibility. So that's the name of the game. And I think, just again, for everyone on this call, you need the difference between traditional SEO content, which was just like very structured and rigid and like keyword stuffed. The difference now is you need to write content that's answer ready. So look up the term semantic or compare semantic content versus like traditional SEO, and you want your content to be answering questions. So if people are wanting to understand the difference between a certain material versus another material, like structure your content to answer that question directly. And then your brand will ideally show up, as LLMs are beginning to become the norm for search. So FAQ should be everywhere. Adding content on this page will also help traditional SEO too, because like the first thing that Google will see is like, okay, there's a ton of HTML and no context, therefore, or no content. So you'll have a low content to HTML ratio and it'll get dinged. That's a pretty big signal on like a page level. So I know there's a little bit of a side rant on SEO, but I love the idea of the continuation, Mia, for sure.
Yeah, well, they definitely go together. I mean, SEO and, you know, we have seen since May, ChatGPT referrals to websites go up significantly across the board, across all e-commerce, across all industries. And not only do we see that increase, but we also see that the users who are coming from there have a tendency to double their conversion rate for the whole site. And my hypothesis now, and like we're all just starting, so we don't really know, but my hypothesis right now is they've pre-qualified themselves before even getting to the site. And that's honestly, Stacey, one of the things that I think about when I look at your content is that you can see here that you've got champagne room 33, lace-up bodysuit, convertible silk lingerie. And is that a premium enough way to talk about your products? And is it simple enough to? So like, there's like, you're dancing the line between balancing your brand and what is instantly recognizable as information. Does that make sense? Like, I think these like luxury sheer feral black catsuit romper This is also safe for work, everybody. Like, we're looking at the content and what is both, how are we communicating both to humans and to and to bots. And so I'm going to just take a look down here to see, what some of this information says down here. Dominate the day, own the night, your new power flex, but make it fashion. Meet your fiercest new statement piece, the luxury sheer catsuit romper. I don't know. I mean, I think this is incredibly informative. I wonder, are these, what are your, I mean, this speaks to me. The other thing that I noticed, though, is that it is very content heavy. And so I think that there is a dance between how much content we want and is it scannable? Is it how people behave on a mobile device, right? Who reads this much copy?
You could always restructure that into FAQs too, which is also great for LLMs because they're going to want to, they're getting more content or context around the questions being asked and then your answers. Further supports the expertise and trustworthiness, and then also suppresses the content into something that's like an accordion style content, which can then be maybe a little bit better for the user experience.
Interesting. So the whole body copy would just be an FAQ, just structured like a question answer?
Well, can you actually just scroll up? Let's just look at that whole thing again. But some of the content, at the bottom can always be like a TLDR version, kind of, especially if it's repetitive content on multiple pages.
Okay.
I think also one thing I would consider is almost like a blatant call of who this is for. I mean, I don't know if it's exactly fitting for this specific product or not, but I've just seen that work really well. It's oh, this is for you if kind of that type of content. Just to be super clear and direct, because, especially for a price point like this, it's possible people are shopping around considering, their options, that sort of thing. And just to be really direct, yeah, this is for you if you like this, this, and this. And if you value that, that, and that. But I think just what Stephen was getting at was I think having product details in bullet points is very normal. So I wouldn't want to deviate from that. But I think, collapsing what you can and structuring it into FAQs that are already in an accordion are going to be very LLM friendly, but also not forcing people to read text on the page.
Okay. Yeah, one of the things to consider is these words cognitive load. The cognitive load of lots of paragraphs in a mobile environment is high. And so by structuring it in an FAQ format or some other format that is scannable, it allows these mental shortcuts to say, oh, what do I care about? Maybe they care about that it is designer Italian jersey. Maybe they care more about, how it functions because they've got some ideas for the bedroom, right? So it really matters what she's here and how she's deciding. And an FAQ not only is good for AI and SEO, but also good for her to be able to be okay, let me just quickly open the things that I care about and take that mental shortcut. All right. Well, we're spending a lot of time on this. Thank you so much for being vulnerable, Stacey. I appreciate you.
Thank you guys so much.
All right. So next up, I do see that Sipherbals here.
Yep, right here.
What's up? This is my Tory Burch sister. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for
excited to be here.
Okay. Tell us about your business.
So Sip is a coffee alternative that gives you everything you love about coffee without the caffeine crashes, jitters, or tummy troubles. Our main customer is female between ages of 25 and 55 who's looking for hormone health, who's also considering gut health, and also doesn't want caffeine. So maybe not even anything to do with adaptogens because they can tamper with hormones and gut health. So that's us.
Okay, awesome. She's you're talking to me. You're speaking my language. Okay, amazing. Can you tell us one other thing and tell us about how you're getting traffic to your website right now to give us a little bit more context?
Yeah, we're totally working with just influencers. We are not running ads right now. Because we were trying to figure out what was working and wasn't working, and we didn't want to burn money, to be honest. And so that's pretty much it, is all organic and working with influencers.
Okay, fantastic. Dan and Stephen, do you have any other questions for Orletha before we move on?
I guess my main question is, do you have any sort of like science? Because this is like kind of on the teetering around like the supplement.
It's not a
side of
supplement. We don't have any teacher credentialed in biology with a biology degree. I'm a master herbalist. So we don't use any health claims. We exited a SaaS before in the wellness space, so we know not to use any health claims at all. So what we talk about is just gut health, which is what anybody can say with prebiotics or whatever you want to say, right? So we don't have those issues with teetering on the science or making any health claims.
No, that makes sense. I guess, is there a way that like you're able to kind of prove or validate to the consumer that this does help them keep hormones regulated or like reduce bloating and that sort of thing? Or is that just kind of spoken to in like the reviews and stuff?
Well, so if you have any coffee and you have it bloating, then you know that coffee causes bloating for you. And so you need to stay away from it. And so those people are actually actively looking for an alternative. And so that's kind of why the coffee alternative market is blowing up right now. And then if you look at just our ingredients, you know that chicory is inulin and it's prebiotic, and you already like it's like, I guess it would kind of be like saying whole wheat bread has fiber in it. Like you already know it has fiber in it. So if you know that, then you're not already looking for that. So we kind of don't call it. We used to call out a lot of the science, and it was confusing people, and so we changed it to be more straightforward. Like, look, you're having a hard time with coffee. Do this.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, interesting. I mean, I find myself asking questions about, because I'm in your target market and also wondering, but what's interesting is I am not educated on, I'm not ready to give up my coffee. I am definitely worried about my aging. And so I am not ready to give this up. And so, you know, for me, as I'm looking at this site, I am definitely, you know, just looking for reasons to say no.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. That means that you're probably not our target audience. Our target audience is a person who already knows that they have to give up coffee. We work specifically with influencers who talk about giving up coffee, who talk about gut health, who talk about hormone health, who say, hey, you know, if you're in the luteal phase of your cycle, you definitely need to stay away from coffee. And now here's what you need to do, right? So it's people who already are educated in the fact that they need to give up coffee. We're not trying to convince you to give it up. When I had to give it up, I did not want to, right? So we already know that. So we don't have that conversation. We are not trying to convince those people.
Okay, that's awesome context. That's really great context. Okay, so with that context in mind, Steve, what are your thoughts on the homepage?
Yeah, I feel like what yours is kind of a similar story to the first case study, but what you are saying is so much more convincing and powerful to me. Even though I understand that you did test out some of the science on the website, because I think that what Dan was asking was a really good question. But I would maybe like have you tested having like a female, you know, on this homepage and, you know, showing that female, just because I was showing this to a bunch of the people on my team, and it took them some more research like into your Instagram account and things like that to kind of understand that it was for females of like kind of like the ages of whatever, like say 20 to 50 or 45 or something like that. It's just not as clear to me, like right as I get in onto the website. Like, could I be drinking Sip? Like, would that be a good option for me, I guess?
That's my question for you then. So we have a lot of guys, a lot of male people who buy our product, and they're like really great subscribers. Will that turn you off if all you saw was like our colors are already very feminine, it's already very female forward. If all you see is women and colors and everything is, you know, female, will that be like, dude, this isn't for me? Like, will that make you, I don't want to turn off my guys, but I know that my bigger audience is women, but I don't want to be like, yeah, no dudes.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of just depends. If guys were 10% of my audience, I probably wouldn't care, and I would just double down on everything female, because if I double down on females and I 2x my revenue that way, I'm way more interested in that versus just keeping it a little bit ambiguous and then hoping that I get a couple guys trickling in here and there. And then just one other question too, to listen or comment looping in your marketing strategy and everything like that. I just think that what you're doing is fantastic. Content first, video first. Whatever works on organic could then be used for paid. So I think you're at an excellent step one. I think a lot of other businesses should be doing the same thing that you're doing, working with influencers, trying to figure out what type of content works, and then moving into paid. Some people just think that they want to generate revenue. It's like a switch that they can flip on, and hey, I can just go to paid, and then I'll think about content or like as an afterthought.
Yeah, I second all that. I think even like testing a video on the homepage hero would be really cool, just to like you bullet out the top 3 benefits right there. But if there was a really great video that can go into it, that I would watch it for sure. I think also I'll challenge the statement that you made where you're not trying to convince folks to move away from coffee. Like, to me, I have a cup of coffee right next to me, but if I don't really feel like anything's pulling me away from doing that this time, but I'm always curious to understand what is better for me, and if I can get, the energy, but also reduce bloating, and maybe there's some other benefits specifically for me that I can discover from trying your product. I'm all ears. So I think it just kind of comes down to like your priorities on like a funnel perspective. Like, if you'd rather capture the people right now and get some traction amongst those that are, actively looking for alternatives, you're right, there's probably higher intent and higher conversion rates associated with that segment. But there is a massive group of coffee drinkers that are like not even really familiar with this, but still might be curious to discover it. And so, that maybe that comes just by nature of getting some traction with influencers and the social media stuff. But I will say this, like, I love the design, I love the branding, I love the as seen in right there for Shark Tank is super validating. Everyone loves to try things that are on Shark Tank and gift those types of things. I will say right now that there's a 95% chance I go and try this for my wife, because she is like everything right here is speaking to what I've observed of her wanting. Even the little avocado icon. So yeah, just like overall look and feel is really great, and I think I see massive upside here.
Yeah, you're doing a lot of things right. One of the things that I'm curious too about that I don't see enough testing on is actually how things like this, when we talk about the content and your value propositions, is how, this is very much oriented around, energy without the crash, big taste, better benefits, good for you. And then I like this, like, say goodbye to bloating, but also like keep hormones regulated. This is definitely speaking to someone who is having that problem. And so, is there something actually even more specific? Like your bloating is very specific, but like what happens when you keep, what does coffee do to you? Like, I wonder what would happen if you tested the messaging to orient around the problems that coffee causes versus the vitamins that your product, that's a decision for you to decide, like, if that's on brand for you. But it's good to know, especially this is something you can do in social media as well, is just to see, like, how does the consumer orient around the message? Is it around the pain? Is it around the benefit? And then just dialing some of those things up and down and playing with that. What did you have to say? Also, do you want to raise?
I did. I'm raising my hand again. Yeah, just going back to, I didn't finish. I had another thought and I forgot about it. But when Stephen brought up the point of like male versus female, I think that would also be a great homepage test, is to be able to almost like link from the homepage directly to like for men or for women, and the product could be the same, but at least the content, the videos, the benefits, the results that maybe that folks are seeing, reviews, like you can kind of create one version for men, one version for female. And I think you'll do a great job of capturing them instead of just kind of having one generic.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay,
let's work real quick. Do you think quizzes work, like, in this situation? Like, if we had them go through a quiz, the first question is like dude or female, and then like all the other questions that we usually would ask, like flavor wise, and then take them to something that is, like you were just saying, curated for who's looking at it.
Definitely.
Okay.
You should definitely explore that. And plus, you're capturing as much first-party data as possible, which is the future of everything marketing. Like, you want to own your first party data, you want to capture as much as you can, and that will definitely, yeah, like I said, future proof your business.
Yeah, 100% aligned with that, especially given the amount of products that you do have. I think some sort of like, I'd call it like a guided selling type of approach, where like answer a series of questions. I wouldn't go too in depth, maybe like 3 or 4 or 5 at most. And then, you know, their results page is like kind of sorted by like top recommendations and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and also one note, as long as we got to talk about the data on this too, like when you have those quizzes on your site, what we often see is that, you know, they've gone through that process, and, you know, who you can call it like, prisoner's dilemma. Like if they feel like they've gone all the way through, then they're just going to go ahead and buy. Or it also feels like, you know, that this recommended product bundle is personalized to me, and that can increase conversion rate. But as well, when you have those Digio, Okendos, and all those different plugins, connect that to Google Analytics, because then you could do some correlation analysis on the answers and the actual first-time purchaser conversion rate, or AOV, and all this other stuff. So all that data will become available for your shopper intelligence.
What was the name of those that you just said?
Oh, Okendo, Digio. I mean, anybody out here have any other preferences for things? Those are the 2 that we work with primarily. And quizzes, we find we've actually, you know, sometimes, and we can talk about this, Dan, like sometimes I've seen the quiz show up kind of like in the middle or at the end, or they'll put it like way at the bottom. What we've done, what we've tested on a collections page, particular for these kinds of products where all the benefit can't be shown on the bag or in a picture of the you know, the product or a bottle, we've actually thrown that up very high on a collections page to encourage the quiz taking, and those who take the quiz have a tendency to convert higher.
Yeah, I've used Digio in the past. I know that like they're good for like a variety of different types of interactive content. I'm not sure how well they like play with Shopify these days. There might be a better alternative that's like kind of like guided selling specifically for Shopify. I just can't speak to it.
So check them out, and if anybody from the community has any other products that they like to mention, go ahead and throw that up. The strength of this community is all of our thinking together. I just want to note that Craig actually also mentioned some things, like we're talking about the value propositions, having the different kinds of, so you could also use value props for customer quotes, from voice in the sky quotes, where you show like a big quote on the page. And so something that Craig's just like spitballing is, I never thought I'd see the day when I could love something more than coffee. You know, you can create some of those as part of your marketing strategy, but certainly take a deep look at your reviews and see what they say, because often what people say about your products is actually the message that you should be using on your product detail pages. Ooh, how did I end up here? All right, well, we're actually doing such a good job on this. We're running a lot over. We're going to do a quick look at this product detail page. Looks like we've got a lot of education going on in here. So I'm going to quickly scan down, and maybe what you can do, Stephen and Dan, let's just do some hot takes. So I'm going to actually, let's make sure that we're looking this in mobile, because if you're coming in from most of the time we see that 80% of traffic does skew mobile. If that's not you, let me know. But if you're coming in from a affiliate marketer, it's usually social.
So much mobile, like 90% probably.
Yeah. Okay. So also you should be looking at in mobile device. Like in this view, I'm using developer tools to do this, so it's not actually a mobile device, but definitely try to look at it all the time like this when you're working from your laptop.
Yeah, my couple hot takes in general. I really like everything. I think that little logo at the top is not super legible to me. Maybe it looks better on mobile. If that's like an industry seal, then obviously you can't change it, but if you have some freedom to change that, I would. The chat bot being kind of like hovering where it is, that little question mark, that orange question mark down the bottom, that's a little bit unusual. I would make it, if that's like an AI chatbot or something, I would maybe consider changing that to make it a little bit more clear that like you can kind of get answers there. But in general, I really like the accordions and a lot of the design elements.
Yeah, I think this is a great PDP. The only other suggestion maybe is to add some of the social content at the bottom as more social proof. You have the reviews there too, but great place to add in some of that UGC content that you're curating right now.
Yeah, there are definitely apps for that too that allow you to have like all your social proof, your social media kind of scroll across a PDP. We do see that work often better than this. So awesome. Thank you so much for joining and being vulnerable. I'm going to move on to the next. Let's talk about Midnighties. Are you here?
Yes, hi.
Hi, welcome.
Thanks. Thanks for doing this for me. So,
All right, talk about where you are in your journey and what you're thinking about when you market and merchandise your site.
sure. So I just launched right before Mother's Day. I got hit by the tariffs, so I didn't really get to do a launch plan. It was a disaster. So I had no idea what my prices were or when the goods were arriving, but it was a Mother's Day gift guide. So, I couldn't do the pre-sale or the countdown or anything. So I got launched. These are the pajamas I kind of wanted my whole life. I tried this years ago and just couldn't find a designer to get them off the ground. I finally am now having time to do it. I designed them with my 3 sisters, and they have padded bra support. So we have a huge family. We spend a lot of time in pajamas with kids running around, the neighbors in and out, and whoever's around. You want more coverage, and you also need some support to run after the kids or the dog, and it's just such a pain to get up and put on a bra or put on a hoodie if you just need to walk the dog out or do, just little things like that. It's bamboo fabric, so it's sustainable, it's organic. They're not 100% sustainable because the pads and the elastic are not. They're eco-friendly, but I can't claim 100% sustainability. And I just started with a very simple collection with a lot of design features that were very thoughtful about, women with curves. And, if you're spending time, if you're in the Hamptons with a bunch of your friends and you don't want to put on a bra to get coffee when your friend's husband's in the kitchen, things like that. So that's the story. When I did launch, my conversion rate was probably 3 to 4% initially, but I think it was just people who knew me or one of my siblings.
Mm-hmm.
Now I just started doing meta ads about 3 weeks ago, and to kind of get ready for Black Friday. And, my conversion rate now that I'm on cold audiences is like 1% if I'm lucky. So any thoughts about how to go after that cold? Because now I'm just working on customer acquisition. I'm doing a lot of offline marketing, conferences, gift bags at conferences in the space, menopause, wellness, health, women's stuff. And so a bunch of that's coming in the next 30, 40 days, and some in-person expos or, charity events, things like that. But any advice about how to convert cold, conversion to the site would be great.
Okay, awesome. Can I ask you, where are your ads driving people to? On your homepage, or are they going directly to a product?
I either send them to the all products page typically, or a single product, depending on what the ad is. But I would say most of the time I send them to the shop all products page.
Okay, let's take a look at that in the essence of time. Is that cool with you, Steve and Dan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to pull this up, and then since it's coming from Facebook, you know what we got to do? We got to look at it on a mobile device, okay? So I'm going to change to looking at that view. And now, what I see right away is a ton of copy, but go, Dan, Steven, what are your hot takes here?
Yeah, the copy thing is copy call out is definitely real. We kind of skew towards show don't tell as much as you possibly can, especially with the USPs. I would want to know like what the top 3 to 5 selling point or propositions are that you have, and kind of like show them close-ups of fabric, different things like that, to kind of support it.
And a lot of the things like this, I love this image,
Yeah.
and I think like something simply, it took me a minute to figure out like, okay, these are pajamas for if I have guests, like if I'm sleeping in something a little bit like too revealing, that this is a thing where I can like be comfortable and have guests, and which is, by the way, excellent timing for you right now to be positioning that product in that way. So, questions for you would be, can we try things like Midnighties sleepwear with padded support? What is the actual value proposition, right? Is it that it has like sleepwear with padded support, or, sleepwear for when you have guests, or just, these are things that I start to think about when I'm looking at value proposition and how to communicate to somebody who is just completely new to the brand.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll second all that. I think I love that first line though, soft enough to snooze, style to be seen. I think that says a lot. And then I think if you're able to, like Aaron, like Steven said, like some visuals, whether it's icons or imagery that shows like the true difference between this and your typical sleepwear, like the problem that you're actually addressing.
So can if you scroll down to are you driving? If you scroll down to those pictures at the bottom, because the three things to me, it's the padded bra support, the waistband is unique as well. I call it the muffin-free waistband. So because there's no elastic in the front. So if you've got PMS or IBS or menopause middle or just had a postpartum, whatever it is, like it flexes with your body. And then the bamboo is just, another thing. But would you move any of that up, or what are your?
I don't know what your traffic is, but I would think that's the type of stuff I would think would be important to see for someone that's coming there blindly, looking to, because like I think at a first glance, you have like 5 seconds to determine whether or not they're interested or not. They're going to look at these pictures and look at the pajamas and say, okay, yeah, it's like some like fancy pajamas that are, $70 or $80. And I think showing to the degree that you can, like something more about the construction and like the problem that it's addressing will go a long way.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, maybe even like a before and after style visual, like
that's
even
cool. Yeah.
Maybe take like cheaper pajamas, and even if like you showed a light behind it comparing to yours, and you're insinuating like the see-throughness of it or whatever it might be, or you could take a piece of fruit or something, like there's a lot of like kind of creative like ways. I think that if that's your personality in the brand, like let it show too. Like don't be embarrassed or something to say that you have to be like super corporate on the website or something like that. If like that is the problem that you're solving, let's keep hitting on it.
Okay. Yeah, I do it. I have all that in the social media, but you're right. I don't do that here. So
definitely like speaking in their tone, the things that she would say, the problems that she would describe is exactly how you want to talk about it. Okay. We are running short on time. I just want to see if, is Booty Shawl here? Did Jules make it in the stroller company? All right, let's take a look at one more thing for Midnighties, and then I know David threw in Rockstar. I don't know if he's still here. We could take a look at Rockstar's website. It's an interesting study. Okay, so let's take a look at a product detail page super quick. Let's do 1 minute to actually see how this looks. Oh, I love, by the way, explainers inside a gallery. I'm wondering if this is legible.
okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. I love the explainers too. I think it's very like, everyone's very used to the Amazon imagery style of browsing. And so to the degree that these things can be communicated in that way, but yeah, you do have to kind of limit the text and still keep it like visually friendly.
So is this one okay and just not the reviews one? Or did you change this one too?
The reviews is a little bit much. I would love to, if you have the reviews on the page, I would just let that speak for itself. I like the other one. The other one's definitely better. I'm a little confused by I think you could probably do without the strikeout text and just make that other text a little bit bigger if possible. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
And I think, you know, similar things apply to you as well in this area for Midnighty. You know, maybe you should collab with Lunatic Femme. It's like, you know, both situations. let's have a package between the conservative and the not so conservative. But other things apply here. Also, we like the FAQs on your page as well. I think that is important. Oh, Booty Shawl's here. Okay, awesome.
Well, something that's like actually like sorry, on the PDPs too, when you have images of, you know, people wearing it or people wearing the pajamas, I would also make a little note at the bottom saying, hey, this model is 5'5" and is wearing a size medium. That's huge in the apparel space, just because people, that's the hardest thing, especially for women, I think, is just that they don't know if they should size up. Is it true to size? How does it look? Even those sizing guides, like, yeah, that helps, but it's just the image like tells way more to the consumer when you're just saying everything about like the model and what they're wearing. And then just as far as like your Instagram account, you have a couple of videos and reels that are, you know, that have a decent amount of engagement and a lot of views. I would use those on Meta. Depends on what those content relationships are with some of those micro influencers that you're using. But I saw that you were making a bunch of videos. Nothing against you. I think you should keep trying as well. But we already know and proved that 4,000 people watched this video, this reel, and the algorithm kept showing it because people are interacting with it, and that means that they are viewing it. That it's got a high view rate. So naturally, if you start now moving that over to paid, you should feel more confident that that's going to, you know, drive more traffic.
Okay, thank you.
All right, awesome. Okay, so Booty Shawl is here. This is such a fascinating product to me. Could you come up and tell us about your business? Let me just grab Patty. Are you here? Oh, looks like you're having trouble with your microphone. You might be on mute, or sorry you're having trouble, Patty. All good. You know what? Why don't we'll put Booty Shawl up to the top for the 1 and 2 weeks on the 29th. And hopefully you have your microphone issues sorted by then. Okay, in the last 5 minutes, we've got, okay, so we're not going to do Jules not here. Let's look at Rockstar. Let's look at Rockstar. We are actually, full disclosure, we are the analytics team for Rockstar Original, but we are not engaged currently in a CRO product. So I am very curious to hear what you have to say. So is it okay, guys, if we do this in a mobile device?
Yes, please.
All right, let's view it. Okay, so David, talk about your business in 1 minute, if you will. What are the main questions that you have?
So we are a pretty large volume store. We've been around for years. In full disclosure, we're trying to reach $100 million in revenue this year. But, you know, we grew over the years, and anything we can learn and improve conversion rates is important for us. Like Mia said, they handle our analytics, but I was curious to talk to, you know, people that don't interact with the site on a daily basis to see what they had to say. And any advice is welcome.
All right, we're looking at a homepage. I know this is a lot of traffic, a lot of opportunity here. Dan, what are your hot takes?
Yeah, a lot going on. I mean, obviously you're doing something right to be approaching 100 million in revenue. So, you know, I'll say, like, I'm a little bit thrown by like all the variety of different text and like text formats. I would love to see a little bit more cohesion, so it's easier to kind of comb through. Yeah, it seems like you have like a pretty big product catalog. So,
and of course, yeah, we are in the fast fashion pace. So every day we introduce new products.
Got it, which makes sense with all the motion and the red and that sort of thing.
Do you have like a new release section on this homepage?
We have a new arrival sections where we dump product on daily basis.
I'm curious to get your take on, you said something, Dan, about the copy formats. Can you say more about that?
It just seems like there's like a lot of different fonts, a lot of different font formats, like italicized, like letter spacing, bold, blinking, strike throughs, like there's everything. And so it's a little bit overwhelming to kind of parse through. I think the fast fashion, it's awesome that you want to like capture that like spontaneous purchase, but I'm wondering if it's worth testing a little bit more cohesion and clarity to kind of help people comb through faster.
Okay.
Yeah, even like a Halloween sale, it's on every product in that. Let's see, it's on every product. Yeah, the Halloween sale text, spend 150 plus get $20 off. I'm looking on desktop. Let's see.
Oh, you're looking at desktop? Okay.
Well, yeah, you're also, I mean, it's showing up here, but that's just kind of redundant, kind of to what Dan is saying. Like, is there just like a way? Oh, I guess it's not showing up on mobile. So
I think can we in 1 minute do something a little bit different and talk a little bit about the cart? Because this is something that we don't really get to all the time with our customers, but I'm curious to get your thoughts on what we're seeing here in the mini cart.
yeah, upselling opportunities. That's great.
Yeah, I agree with that. That little modal or the pop-up on the bottom is a little, was that there before you entered the cart, or did that come up when you?
I think it showed up when I entered the cart, although I can't recall now. We'll have to look at the recording, but it is a little bit competitive with what is actually, I mean, it was competitive for sure with the checkout. The checkout button is right here. And so that was covering up the checkout button.
Potentially like a buy now, save later option, unless it like pops up later. I don't know. Because I think for this demographic, it would probably be pretty popular.
Where would you put it?
I mean, maybe it's further down the checkout.
I'm struggling to scroll up and down and just in this format, but I do see like there's order protection, the recommendations, the monthly membership is in my cart. If I go to checkout here, let's see if it'll let me. So this is the actual Shopify checkout page.
Okay.
And I'm logged into my shop app, so.
I mean, there's not a lot of customization options on the default, right? I mean, for Shopify.
That's true. There is a product, for some of you who are a little bit bigger, it's called Pretty Damn Quick. That is pretty much the only product that we know of right now that is allowed to check out, that allows you to open up the technology to test and check out. But those are definitely some things that we would be recommending that this team is now starting to think about. But yeah, I mean, I'm sorry I couldn't actually get into the cart and get this working on my computer. But I think, some of these things I think this is potentially a little bit distracting. This high roller save, because we have it here, extra 10% off, this 10% off, this 10% off. I'm asking myself, like, what did I put in my cart as a result of all these like different things that are on here?
It might be cool to kind of have like a total savings calculator to maybe like show, assuming like there's like people grabbing lots and lots of things at one time, to be able to say, oh yeah, you're saving, $150. That might boost intent a little bit. I also don't think you need that little like left column there. Like, I feel like you could probably make the cart the full width because you have that clear option to exit out. I think just reduced kind of noise of whatever's blinking or animating it behind the cart. So, but
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd be curious to test this also with it not blinking, to just be this high roller cart savings actually just be static and clear, so that it's not something that maybe gets overlooked. Okay, awesome. Well, thanks everybody. This is Another like fast round of CRO. Stephen, Dan, you're the best. And also thank you to guest spot Craig coming in the peanut gallery. Appreciate you joining. Everyone, this has been an incredible look at different sites. Thank you for your vulnerability, and do catch us in the next 2 weeks, where we have somebody who's actually worked for Mrs. Fields coming on to take a look at sites. So if you have anybody in food, please do recommend the CRO Live Lab.